Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks again for joining us for Office Hours. As always, we want this to be more of a conversation, so as we're going through the prepared slides today, make sure you're typing in any questions you may have in the chat pane. And if you have any questions unrelated to today's topic, feel free to type those in as well, and we'll try to get back to them towards the end of the call and address everyone's questions. Today, we have a really interesting agenda because we are going to present the findings of the 2014 Borrell Digital Marketing Services Survey. A lot of the publishers in our network participated in this survey, so the results are something that a lot of us have been anticipating, and there's some really good, interesting nuggets of information that we're going to go through today. We're going to discuss what those mean for you, as well as introduce a couple new things that we've either talked about in the past or in some cases are brand new things we're thinking about doing for 2015 to kind of get your feedback on, and then we'll wrap up with the latest round of tech updates. So starting out with the key findings, there's a lot of interesting information in this report, and we tried to boil it down to the things that we thought were most relevant to you guys as publishers. And the first thing, and this is actually almost the title of the report itself, is local advertisers are beginning to learn that the cost of managing their own media isn't free. A lot of times when you're out having a conversation, sometimes, I'm just going to do Facebook, that's my advertising channel. They're realizing that even though Facebook is a decent, distribution channel for their marketing activities, it's not free by any means. It takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of effort. In many cases now, with all the changes to Facebook, you actually have to spend quite a bit of money to get your posts seen by people on Facebook. So small businesses, local advertisers, they're starting to understand that, and they're kind of looking for other options to help them, reach new customers. And that has, is backed up by the second bullet point, is they spend more than 2/3 of all their digital marketing dollars on digital marketing services. Those are things like SEO and web design and those kind of things, like the infrastructure type expenditures that needed to support everything else that they do. And that's going to be approximately $73 billion this coming year. So there's plenty of money for everyone to make here. The problem is that, as a decision maker, a manager, a business owner, or whoever it is, they're getting pestered by daily sales calls. On average, one a day, but on the high end, people are getting 12 calls a day from all those services I just mentioned, including social media management, mobile marketing, and as we'll talk about, that has been a huge source of frustration for local businesses. So we need to find a way to cut through that, and we'll talk about that in a little bit as we move on. But the good news here is that these findings also confirm that they consider traditional media, which is our primary business, the fuel that drives all their digital marketing. So they're starting to think about it as not print on one side and digital on the other, but how print serves digital and vice versa. So the more we can talk to those points and the more we can bundle things together, the better we're going to be able to serve them going forward. A couple interesting things to wrap up the key findings is they spend an average of 27.9% of their ad budgets on digital media. That's up from last year. That is a big chunk of change you're leaving on the table if you're not talking about digital in every conversation. And this last one is more something that just kind of, stood out to me, is that, they report that 53% of small businesses have less than 1,000 fans or followers on social media. That's across all channels, so that's less than 1,000 on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Pinterest, Google+, whatever combined, which means you have a huge opportunity here to help them improve that or help them expand their audience. You've heard us talk about social promotions. This is one of the reasons why we think those are so valuable as a service to offer to local businesses.
And I'd like to add, keep in mind who was participating in this survey. So they ran this with publishers, our network, and many other publishers that they work with. There were something like 2,000 respondents. So the people who responded to this were people who already advertised with magazine and newspaper companies. So the fact that existing advertisers are spending 28% of their budgets on digital is directly relevant. So these are not people who are not already interacting with local publishers. It's also interesting to know, as you think sort of through this, that because they're already advertisers, they're probably larger, perhaps even a little more sophisticated than on bulk. So the fact that 47% have more than 1,000 fans is probably not indicative of sort of the landscape on a whole. And I think if you look at most local businesses and many people who don't necessarily advertise with you, you'll see they have far fewer. So there's two good pieces of information here that we can suss out of this data. One is there's a lot of money to be made from existing advertisers, and two, there's a lot of ways that you can help non-advertisers who are perhaps too small for print or don't have the budget or whatever, but you can help them in other ways that will make you more profitable. So I see Tom asked, how is a small business defined by the survey? They actually break it down into a couple levels. I think the largest small business, I'm probably misquoting, I don't have the results in front of me, but has up to 100 employees or something. But they break down a lot of these results, and in fact, we're happy to distribute the details for you to see how different businesses stack up. They definitely vary, depending on the size.
Yeah, so 92.5% of the respondents had less than 100 employees, and it actually gets a lot higher than that. It's 55% had less than 25. So that'll give you an idea what the brackets look like when we're talking about this data. All right, so what does all of this mean for you as a local publisher? The good news is that there is a huge opportunity here. Probably one of the reasons you're working with Locable, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but we're trying to help kind of get around this problem of having a highly fragmented market. Our technology is all designed to, bring people together and drive conversation, and we're using, your brand and your expertise and your local relationships to help pull everything together. So you already kind of started down this path, but it's ripe. It's a ripe opportunity for a superior provider, and we're trying to make you that provider in the local level. But there's still a ton of confusion from smaller operators. They feel cheated. Maybe they work with someone who didn't deliver what they said they were going to, and because of all of those things, they're quite cautious when it comes to jumping back into the deep end, so to speak, on the digital front. So as a publisher, you need to really embrace the fact that you have these other options, whether it's expanded tools or services, and you need to make those part of your business model. They already trust you. They already have a relationship with you. You can help them get around these feelings of inadequacy here, and it's imperative that you leverage that relationship to both educate the advertisers and then, most importantly, help them get results. So in the next two slides, we're going to talk about, how you can help them achieve those two things. So backing up just a second here and going back to digging into the survey results a little bit deeper, the majority of the report focused on what they call web presence and prominence. This is the focus of small businesses right now. Everyone realizes they need a website, and 53% of the overall spend is on those types of activities: web design and maintenance, web hosting, online advertisement management, which you already kind of helped them out with. Of course, mobile and social are a big part of that. Taking it a step further, when we start to talk about prominence and promotion, you have things like sending regular emails, reputation management, that's things like reviews or responding to bad reviews, opt-in management, that's building your email list. These are all things that we talk about on a regular basis with you as a publisher. Businesses have a lot of these same concerns as they're trying to build their business. And of course, then there's the SEO and the blogging and, making sure that you own your Yelp listing and your, Locable listing and all the other listings that are out there that are relevant to the ecosystem. As you can see here, if you add up 53, 19, and 24, that's a huge piece of the digital marketing spend puzzle. And the good news is we've already started, and we've talked about this in the past, but we're going to be introducing what we call the Impact Marketing Suite. it hits on almost every one of these issues that are outlined in this report. Is something that we're focusing on very clearly with the Impact Marketing Suite, with the exception of the digital press release distribution. All of these things are touched on in some way, shape, or form. So the Impact Marketing Suite is a hosted solution, meaning they don't have to worry about web hosting. It includes all their updates. It will be mobile and SEO optimized. So they don't have to worry about the technical aspects of, is it going to show up on a phone, or, what is the title tag supposed to be like? We're going to handle all of that stuff out of the box. One of the things here that I guess is kind of a read between the line item is everything in the Impact Marketing Suite is optimized for conversion. So whether they're trying to build their email list, or they're promoting an offer, or they're trying to get someone to pick up and call them on the phone, all those call to actions and landing pages, all that kind of management of the conversion funnel will be built into the suite for them. It'll be integrated with social media. So you see, social media management is a big thing that people spend on. The Impact Marketing Suite will ultimately, if you post something on your website, it will show up on the Locable network. It will show up on their social media channels. Will be a lot of different things along those lines. I know Brian is itching to get a word in here, so I'll pause and let him fill in before we move on.
Yeah, I wanted to say, clearly there's value that's going to be happening for the local business with the Impact Suite, and obviously Locable benefits, but there's a number of really important ways the fact that we're building this benefits you as the publisher. The first is it's delivered through your brand. So there's strong connections to your brand, both in how someone enrolls in Impact, as well as the benefits, as Ryan said. Someone posts something in their own calendar on their website, it will appear on your calendar. There's a direct connection as part of the distribution strategy for the local business. So that's one. The next is we're going to pay you a commission, both in the pilot phase and on the operational phase. So it's literally a revenue stream for software that you don't have to build or maintain or any of that. Going further, though, a lot of local businesses spend thousands of dollars on their website. Literally, they'll pay a local developer or somebody, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. In fact, sometimes we've done that in the past for folks because building the site from scratch is time-consuming and you want to make a profit and so forth. But the reality is the value of, quote-unquote, building the site is not very high. The value of having an effective web presence with the right tools is incredibly high. And so there's literally going to be more money in the pockets of local businesses that they're, one, not spending on their website so they can buy ads with you, because it's better to cover your bases that way. And two, their conversion rates will be much higher. So anything they do, promotionally speaking, with you will not only give the customer who clicks on an ad or goes to their website or whatever a better experience, but it will literally convert at a higher rate into purchase, which means, one, they're going to feel more satisfied with you as an advertising source, and they're going to have more money to spend with you. We've seen this time and again where we've had a great campaign, we've had really good ads, we've driven good traffic, and their website is garbage. It doesn't convert, and people leave and they go, well, wow, that was a waste of money. And it actually may have been a waste of money, but it has nothing to do with you, the publisher. It has everything to do with their poor presence. So there's a lot of benefits that helping solve these problems give you. The last of which that I'll note is that when those one person per day are knocking on their door, they've got everything covered. I mean, everything covered. They can just lightly turn them away and say, I've got it covered with my local publisher and the solutions they provide. And so it keeps them from shopping you in ways that might otherwise happen. So we're really excited about where this is going. And again, if you have clients who are in need of a web presence or improved presence, let's talk.
Yeah, I think that those are all great points. I may have jumped ahead, getting excited about all the features, but the benefit of this is, and we'll talk about this again in a little bit, but it's one relationship, one buy for the business. You can provide all of these services for them. We're just giving you the tools to do it. We want this to be you. This is your brand, a service you offer. We're just giving you the know-how and the technology that you need to be able to deliver. And kind of wrapping up the list here, business blogging, blogging, and this was in the report as well, but blogging is one of the most time-consuming activities, but it's also one of the most popular. business blogging is going to allow businesses, along with the alliances, basically to say, if you're a similar business and my audience can benefit from what you have to say, we can share blogs between our sites. That's going to be a really cool feature down the line. We've talked about, listing and reputation management, being able to respond to reviews, and make sure your listings are shown on the appropriate sites. And then most importantly, as Brian was alluding to before, it's about customer relationship management, CRM. How do you actually help the business take all this attention that they're getting and turn it into a customer for them? And the answer, at least that we think, is it's the thoughtful application of how all these things work together and how the Impact Marketing Suite will work together with what you're offering from an advertising side as a publisher. That is going to be where the value is derived, is going to be what, as Brian said before, it gives the business owner a reason, or the decision maker a reason to say, I'm all set, I've got my marketing under control, I don't need your help, to everyone else that's out there, because they know you, that they want to work with you, and most importantly, you're delivering results. Now, with all that said, what that really means when it comes down to it is there's still some education that needs to be done. And I'm going to turn the call over to Brian here just for a few minutes, because we've been playing around with the idea of launching what we're, at least phrasing for now, is called the Impact Marketing Magazine. That is our play of, how do we help you educate your advertisers and the people in your market. So Brian, do you want to jump in and talk a little bit about that?
So about a year ago, we had started down the path of creating a web series called Modern Marketing Fundamentals. And this was going to be provided as a series of bite-sized, actionable education for local businesses. Business owners at the local level have been poor marketers as long as they've existed, and digital has only compounded this. Anytime you're out trying to sell, I'm sure you run into things like, can't I just do social media? Or a few years ago, Groupon is going to be my new advertising, right? And like all things, there's hype and there's flavor of the month and there's whatever other things are pulling on people. And so we believe education is an important piece, and we try to educate publishers with tools that they can then educate with their advertisers. We're going to take this further, and we're going to pivot a little bit off of the educational piece that we originally started on, and we're looking at doing a magazine. And what this magazine is really meant to be, it's likely going to be a bi-monthly or quarterly piece, and it'll be a very action-oriented set of activities and information for the local marketer. We're talking about impact because things need to make an impact right away. Now, we're trying to still work on things like our distribution, and we'd love to work with our publishers in our network to provide this publication as something you can pass out or that you can provide to your advertiser and prospect. This is going to be everything from print to out-of-home to digital. It's really going to cover the bases, but it's meant to educate people on the foundational things they need. They can't stop advertising, or if they don't advertise, they need to start, and why, and also how to spend their time effectively, how to craft a good ad, how to improve their messaging on their website, the things that are fundamental to their business. It's about, the stronger the local business owner is at marketing, the stronger your business will be, because they're going to realize that your audience is where they need to be with at least a portion of their spend. So it'll have everything from case studies. We'll be looking at things that publishers do, so we'd like to highlight you in this. We're going to be looking at things that local businesses do. We're going to be providing industry-specific case studies. Here's what John's Plumbing did to grow their revenue X% by combining these various things. So it's really going to be very hands-on. There's going to be actual how-to guides and worksheets that we mix in print and also have available online, so people can go through and say, how do I make a buy? How do I evaluate an option? How do I fill in the blank? Of course, industry news, changes on Facebook and Google. I mean, look, social media and SEO are big topics for everyone, but local businesses can't keep up. We're going to boil it down to the basics for them so they know how they're affected. We'll also look at things like products and services. Should I use Gmail for my corporate email, or things of that nature? And really anything else that we can find that allows us to provide something really useful that a business owner can take, go through the publication, and say, I have at least one new idea that I can implement immediately in my business. And of course, by working with you as a distribution point, I think it's a great way for you to build audience, affinity with your advertisers, but also that you can follow up and say, hey, do you have a chance to look at that? I thought this article on page 22 was really relevant to our last conversation. So we're trying to provide that authoritative second voice that does reinforce the things that you do. So I'd be really curious to get your gut reactions to a publication like this dedicated to the local marketer. It will be a nationwide publication, but all about local marketing and how you could envision either using this on your tool, as part of a tool set, as well as if you think it's something that your advertisers could benefit from. If you wouldn't mind posting just a quick thought or two here, and then if there's something more detailed you'd like to share with us, we'd very much appreciate it.
Yeah, so, when it comes down to it, there are, 4 or 5, maybe 6 points in the report that were really highlighted throughout, and they all kind of come down to these, notions that the business owner or decision maker doesn't really understand, desire, or want to pay for anything that's too sophisticated because they probably don't understand it and don't understand why they're spending money on it. At the end of the day, they care about a list of customers who are ready to buy, so to the extent that, the advertising helps them, achieve that goal, you've already got a leg up on all these other digital folks that are only going in with one piece of the puzzle that couldn't possibly deliver customers to their door. That is something that will give you a competitive advantage as you kind of start to pull all these different things together. One of the big things, that the Impact Marketing magazine will help us is to help people understand that a website isn't just, set it and forget it. It's a living and breathing thing. It requires constant attention, but that doesn't mean things can't be automated. Certain things can be, but when you do spend time on the website, it shouldn't be on design and, setup. It should be on optimization and conversion. A lot of business owners still think free is free. That is one thing that you're going to have to contend with, on an ongoing basis. To think, oh, well, Facebook is free. Your challenge is to help them understand that, well, free really isn't free. How much time a week are you spending on Facebook, and what is your hourly rate? Help them do the math on really understanding what they're spending on social media. This may or may not be true at the end of the day, but most business owners believe word of mouth advertising is still their most significant driver of sales. I think the reality of the situation is they think that because a lot of the other advertising stuff they do is really hard to measure. Word of mouth is always going to be a part of it. And if you remember back a couple slides ago when we talked about the Impact Marketing Suite, part of that suite will be about referrals and word of mouth. So, we're helping them, put all the pieces of the puzzle together. It's not one or the other. There's a lot of different ways. And as long as it's an affordable offering that you guys are putting out there, you have a huge opportunity to kind of take a chunk out of this pie. Final thoughts. You want to maintain high quality standards. I know I have this conversation a lot is like, digital is much different than print, and print standards are probably going to be a little bit higher, but that doesn't mean that digital standards are low. It just means they're a little bit different. The quick thing I can say is, because you're trying to build a relationship with them and be a trusted person, don't go after the quick buck. If someone says something to you while you're trying to sell them, be like, whoa, hold up. Let's back up a bit and talk about what that really means. Use those opportunities to be the educator here instead of the person who's just trying to take advantage of them like everybody else. You have lots of opportunities even without the Impact Marketing magazine to educate through your sales team, through emails, weekly emails, monthly emails to businesses, through landing pages on your site. Of course, once we get the magazine up and running, you'll have that as a resource to point to. We also plan on building some other, kind of interim, call it a white paper or a little bit of a primer on local marketing that we'll make available to everyone as well. And the most important thing, and I've alluded to this throughout the slides, is you have to follow through. You can talk a big game. The problem the reason a lot of business owners don't trust the SEO and SEM guys is because they didn't follow through with what they said they were going to. So if you're gonna, say, hey, here is the package, make sure that you're doing everything in your power to follow through and make sure that that package is delivered where it's providing value to the advertiser. This may be something as simple as, if they buy an advertorial from you, that you make sure to share it on your Facebook page and share it to their Facebook page for them. It takes an extra 10 seconds to do so. We have a bunch of resources in the affiliate library that is a document. If you're running a social promotion for someone, send the document of what the sponsor can do to maximize the value. It's things like post to their Facebook page, print out a flyer, for their front door register. It's send an email to their list. Like, these are all things that they should be doing, but they probably don't even know or think to do it. By following through, again, you're building that relationship for the long term. You're becoming a trusted advisor for them. So those are all really important aspects of, what we'll call solution selling. The other piece of it is embrace the power of the bundle. Everything's fragmented because everyone tries to focus on one thing. We're trying to give you the ability to say, all right, when you're talking to an advertiser, you can be the person that delivers everything they need in order to grow their business, whether that's a traditional print ad, a premium digital ad, audience extension, whether it's some sort of loyalty program or a social promotion. It could even be press release services. The Impact Marketing Suite is something that you'll be able to offer them here in the near future. Whether they buy all, some, or one of these things, it doesn't really matter, but you should be talking about it in a way that is, the thoughtful application of how these things work together is where the value comes from. You're not going to be able to get this by going out and, getting one piece from one person and another piece from another. We can help you make sense of it all. It's the one relationship, one buy kind of concept that I want you guys to kind of walk away from here thinking about, how can you start to work this stuff into your media kits? How do you work this stuff into your website? Brian and I sat down yesterday afternoon to talk about how we were going to better support this stuff for you guys, and we have a lot of great stuff planned in the coming months, including things like, having templates for landing pages on your site and the white paper I talked about. So we're all very excited about helping you take advantage of these trends. And we hope that you are equally excited and ready to jump in. With that, I am going to turn things over to Brian to talk about the tech updates for this week.
All right. So actually, this is an update that doesn't just cover this week, but we haven't hit it in the last couple office hours, so I'm going to quickly go through some things, and we'll click along as I do. The first is that we've implemented email receipts for directory listings. Any claim listing, free or paid, will get a receipt that looks something like this. It's got a couple of benefits. One is it gets you back in front of them, which is great. The next is that there are a couple calls to action: manage the listing, post an event, install the customer reviews widget, things of that nature. And, of course, at a minimum, it just is your brand in front of them. The next is that we've rebuilt the new events page. Now, it's completely mobile-friendly, which is fantastic. There's also been a couple updates. There were some challenges that people had faced from time to time about how to use the venue search. And so we think that we've streamlined this to help people better understand what's expected. So you'll notice in the top here, you type in cafe. I didn't capture on the screenshot the fact that it's a lookup, but what I captured is that if nothing is found, there's a very clear add a new venue button, and that you can clearly see what it's searching, geographically speaking. So if you're looking for, like in our area, we live about an hour and a half away from a ski resort, that would not appear by default in this look because it's outside 40 miles, but it's pretty clear. If I'm trying to get a ski resort, I might find it easier if I can change the central zip in the distance. The next thing is after you select it, it does show it on a map. So if there happens to be multiple locations in our town, there are 2 Starbucks on Blue Ravine. So it can quickly show you which one am I selecting, just to be sure, which is a nice piece. The next is that we've added the ability to select medium-sized images or inserted content snippets. If you're not using inserted content snippets, you are really missing out on a way to build great, interesting, cross-linking content that's good for SEO. So what you'll do here is when you click the snippet button, it looks like two arrows crossing on the text editor. If you want to use the larger image, which I generally recommend, click instead of thumbnail, go down and make it medium, then type in the name of the content if it's an article. If it's not an article, you have to select that as well. And what it inserts is a much larger image. So you can see here we use it now for our Editor's Picks events, which makes the image a little more, which just makes it pop a little bit. We use it now for our In This Issue articles. So again, the images come through larger than a thumbnail. It'll get a little bit more attention that it grabs. And again, if you're not using our In This Issue approach and you're a print publication, you need to. And then we also use it on the archives page. Pardon me. So as we're building out the archives, we're inserting the content of the In This Issue and using the medium size. So it's not a perfect fit for everything, and some images simply are too small or don't look great at this size, but for the most part, it's a great fit. As we continue down the line, we've upgraded the directory, and we're actually doing some other tests on the directory management interface, which should be done this afternoon and deployed. So that'll be greatly improved. We'll give you some new features, including galleries on directory listings. Those are included on all directory listings, not just paid. And also something called linked articles. Now, there's two types of linked articles. There is when you refer to a business on an article that you're writing, in addition to inserting a link to the directory listing, on the right-hand side, you'll see this new section called Related Listings under Tags. And again, it uses the same lookup as the venue select. If you add a business there, it will add the article that you're creating to the directory's listing itself. And it'll look kind of like this. So here's a listing. You've got the description. You've got all that stuff. And then you'll see it says Related Articles, Sean's Lawn and Garden Service. And also there's a new tab called Related Articles at the top. So if you call someone out using that, it will appear here. Again, more SEO. Someone goes to this directory listing, and they'll say, oh, you were referenced in 2 articles. And this is a great way, especially if you're doing advertorials, to link back and forth. The other sort of linked articles are exclusively for upgraded listings, and that's their ability to link out to other press that they have or other, frankly, anything. And it's just simply a text link that they can add that can appear mixed in with the related articles. But again, that's limited to upgraded listings. Finally, we did implement a CDN about a week ago. The CDN is a content delivery network, so it's going to be delivering images a little bit faster, makes the sites a little snappier, just part of our ongoing process. You will note, and this is just a temporary thing, but when we did this, we didn't realize, but it did interrupt the on-site cropping feature. So if you tried to crop a main image and it didn't crop properly, that's what it was. It's still auto-cropping when you upload, but the recropping is not. It's not using the new version. So look for a fix for that very shortly. If you need something cropped, you'll need to do it for the moment out of the system, but the built-in system cropping will be back very, very soon. With that lightning round of features, excited to have those out. There's going to be a few more updates that you're going to be seeing, but if you have any questions or whatnot, go ahead and share those as Ryan wraps up.
Yeah, so I just wanted to wrap up by reminding everyone that this Saturday is Small Business Saturday. At the very least, make sure you're posting some stuff on your Facebook page and take advantage of the buzz that's going around, for Thanksgiving, Black Friday, Small Business Saturday, Monday, Cyber Monday, Tuesday is Giving Tuesday. This whole week is right for things to post on Facebook. If you need any other ideas of campaigns, I suggest checking out the AmericanExpress.com page, who obviously puts the event on every year. But great opportunity to be involved with the community, even if at a small level. You could even just be resharing other people's Facebook posts throughout the day on Saturday as a simple way of saying thank you to all your advertisers. And with that, we will wrap up. We will stay on the call for anyone who has any further questions about either the report tech updates, Small Business Saturday, or quite frankly anything else that is burning a hole in your brain. So thank you again for joining us, and go ahead and type in your questions, and we'll get to them as they come in.